The true title of Andrew Lloyd Webber's is Phantom of the Opera. This one is Phantom. The book that was originally written by Gaston Leroux in 1910 is called Phantom of the Opera, and basically the stories are both based on that book. This show goes into the story of the Phantom and how he became the Phantom.
The Phantom really does do some awful things, and I think it's because he's lived his whole life in an opera house watching opera, and he's read all sorts of books, all sorts of drama, and I think that he has kind of a warped idea about what is good and what is right, because he's seen nothing but melodrama on the stage his whole life.
We really tried to embrace the architecture of our theater instead of trying to work against it and having the Phantom be a part of our theater. And our theater is in the round, so the audience is sitting, 360 degrees. So we wanted the Phantom to be above the audience and behind the audience, in front of the audience and below the audience. And so throughout the show, you're never knowing exactly where he is or where he's going to show up.
If you think about it, most shows are done in the proscenium, and in the script, it calls for the Phantom actually to remove his mask. And in the script, it clearly states that you should have the actor turn upstage so the audience doesn't see that. Well, we can't do that here in the round. So we have to show the deformity, and we hired a makeup artist to come in and create prosthesis for both the little boy and for the Phantoms that they actually have to expose on stage. He was born with a deformity, and we get to go back in this story and see that little boy as he deals with that deformity, and then how that creates a character who becomes a socially inept recluse who lives beneath the Paris Opera House, who the audience and the characters in the show come to know as the Phantom.
This particular version of the story, one of the things I love the most is that you meet the Phantom's father in the show, and you meet members of his family. And I think that's a really important element to learn more about him and to make him a little bit more human and less of just an icon. And that's something that's really kind of cool, to play a character that everybody thinks that they know, and yet they don't really know him all that well until they come and see this performance, and then they say, oh, you're really not all that bad.
I think it's a tale of a misunderstood man, I think, really. And I don't know, in a few words, you're kind of learning a little bit about the history of an old story.
We come to the theater assuming the Phantom is evil. And in this story, he truly isn't. He certainly does things that are evil deeds, but he himself is not evil.